conventional wisdom would say you never give up a belt without a guarantee of the belt that you're going up to go fight for. But I do think Ilia Topuria is a different breed. I don't think we've seen a guy who is as confident as he is since Conor McGregor.
When you have that aura of invincibility, there's just something about that. I don't care who it is. You throw this guy in there, you throw that guy in there. I don't care who it is. And I remember there was a moment where I was just like, yeah, bring Godzilla. Bring him, bring his nephews and his cousin. I don't care who it is. And Ilia Topuria has that right now. He does not care. And he believes in that conviction so much to where, hey, put up Conor, I'll put him to sleep. Put up Charles Oliveira, I'll put him to sleep. Put up Islam, I'll put him to sleep. Like, he has that conviction. And hey, he's told us that twice now in these world title fights. And what did everyone do? Everyone went, I don't know. Volkanovski is a beast. You can't do that. He went out there and he did it. And then he goes, give me Max Holloway. And we're like, oh, I don't know. Max Holloway, the best boxer in the UFC. I don't know if you could do that. He went out there and did it.
In his mind, he doesn't have to make the weight anymore. He's been there, done that, and there are potentially bigger fights. You can make a very strong case, as much as I love Alex Volkanovski, that for him, the bigger fight is Islam Makhachev, right? There's a back and forth, there's a history, and Makhachev has looked so good as of late. And can I be honest with you guys, as much as I'm kind of bummed for Volk, I have so many mixed emotions with all these announcements. Bummed for Volk, happy he's still getting a title fight, happy for Diego Lopez, what a story. Excited for Ilia Topuria, excited for the opportunity, and if I'm being honest, Ilia versus Islam interests me a lot more right now than Islam versus Charles too.
You asked me about Islam, like what is Islam saying? Well, his manager Rizvan Magomedov said Topuria versus Charles should be the contender fight. That's the latest update. He said he needs to prove that he's a legit lightweight so we don't have to defeat another small featherweight. We need big fights that make sense for everyone. We already gave chances to the featherweight champ that was reigning for a long time. So what it sounds like to me, Chael, is that the Islam camp isn't that excited about this fight right now. So it also makes me feel, because that's what I heard. I heard that it was going to be Oliveira. I heard Oliveira versus Ilia, which would be just tremendous and so fun. But this statement by Rizvan makes me think that, like, that's the step. That's the step. You want to fight Islam, you got to get through Charles. Because we both know, right, Chael? Charles was scheduled for a championship opportunity. Charles was supposed to be the guy to fight Makhachev in Abu Dhabi last year, where Volkanovski stepped in again. So hearing that, I feel that Ilia will fight Charles Oliveira. And then the person who wins that will be the #1 contender for Islam's championship.
I think he does need commended here, and I think you and I are only arguing about should he walk into a #1 contender's fight or should he walk into a world title fight. If our current world champion doesn't yet have an opponent, I'm going to predict he goes right for the world title. But Daniel, do you know how sad that's going to be? I want to build the idea of Ilia Topuria. Do you know how handsome this guy is? Do you know how many people love him? Do you know the prime minister of the country of Spain stops what they're doing to go watch this guy? I don't want him to have the risk of getting beat on day one. I like the idea of Topuria the champion, and I don't know that I'm convinced he can deal with Islam right now.
155 is in a very interesting place right now. It has, for the past at least 6 or 7 years, been kind of the top of the UFC's loaded divisions, has been 155 pounds. Those guys are just aging out. You can only be at the elite level for so long, and that top 5 guys that we've been talking about for years and years and years about how great they are, they're just getting old. Dustin Poirier is got one more fight left in him, maybe. Charles Oliveira is looking to make a run at the title. If it doesn't work, that might be it for him. It's just, the guys are getting long in the tooth, right? They're in their mid-30s, a lot of them. A lot have been through a ton of wars. They're just starting to break down. You kind of see those guys at the top, like, okay, Justin Gaethje can only do what he does for so long. Same for Max Holloway, same for Justin Gaethje, same for Michael Chandler, right? All these guys who have been through all these wars that we've loved, 155 pounds, they're starting to get a little old. And so he might be making this transition at exactly the right time to take advantage of a 155-pound division that is, wearing down a bit.
Right now, what is even happening at lightweight? There's Islam, because we know Islam wants to move up. Then you've got the Bilal situation. Jack Della wins that fight, Islam's moving up. Let's be real. Islam's moving up straight away. And then you're going to have, is that what they're waiting for? There's a lot of moving parts right now. So it's a tricky one. Maybe I think Ilia and Islam is a big fight. Now that he's vacated, I think they might reward him for that. But yeah, we'll see. There's a lot happening right now. That's and I think I don't know anything, but just from sort of knowing the game and sort of knowing the sort of situation and just how things are, there's a lot of moving parts right now. Anything can change like that. You know what I mean? And a massive change is Jack Della. If that belt changes hands, when is it? May?
May 10th. Yep.
Well, there you go. Islam. You know what I mean? Everything that just. That's where all the decisions probably get made on the spot.
I was a guy that fought after I beat Demetrius Johnson and then TJ Dillashaw. Like, I beat two people and I was able to go up. And there were two first ballot Hall of Famers, bro. And I feel like Ilia deserves that. But it takes two to tango, and I don't feel like these Dagestanis, bro. Even though they say anytime, anywhere, it's like Islam wants to make sure that Ilia deserves it. He wants him to go through the number one contender, as we talked about before. But if I had my choice, of course, Ilia, fight Islam Makhachev. I think he needs to be more verbal about it and really, he's been throwing little jabs here and there that he'll stop him, but I think he needs to stop being the nice guy, because he doesn't have that nice guy. Like, his aura should be more of that bad boy. And I feel like that's where he can really cut that really great promo and get people involved.
Yeah, listen, I think Topuria is an absolute beast. I think he's proven that his striking is a little bit different than everybody else's right now, especially in that close range. He puts together some nasty combinations, and he's a patient dude, and he's good everywhere. And I mean, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one who initiated this talk about having one fight before the fight for the belt. And again, I don't know that he may get Islam straight away. I don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Just he makes very calculated moves. Everything he does inside and out of the cage, it's like he's thinking about it, and he's thinking long and hard about it, and then he executes on it. And curious to see if it's going to be Poirier, if it's going to be Oliveira, or if he's going to go straight for the king and Islam Makhachev.
Arman would be incredible. I think that would actually probably be the best test to give him the replica feel of Makhachev. Not that he's the same, but he's the closest to the style. The very, very, very strong grappler with very, very strong striking, defensive fundamentals and offense. So that would prepare him the most, but I don't know if UFC will give that opportunity to Arman, to be honest. And you got to tip your hat to Ilia too. He vacated the title to drop into, not just at the top of the division, but just drop into the lightweight division. It's a lot of confidence, and it takes a lot of balls.
Representing Georgia, I don't know how much he would love to fight an Arman Tsarukyan, perhaps for a belt. Let's see. But there is no way, and quite frankly, like, he deserves a lot of praise. Historically, the champ doesn't give up the belt when he moves up. Historically, the champ keeps that belt, dating back to the likes of BJ Penn moving up to 170 at UFC 94. He kept his 55-pound belt. Volkanovski kept his belt. Now, the Conor situation was a little different. He was essentially forced to give it up because they just needed something, but they let him keep it for a very, very long time before taking it away from him. So the point is, he deserves a lot of credit.